In animation and CGI, a keyframe defines the beginning and end points of any smooth transition. They are referred to as frames because their location and time is measured in frames on the timeline. A series of keyframes creates the illusion of an object moving. In the project, I have an orange square that I want to animate moving horizontally across the screen and stopping at the center of the canvas. So this is the first position of the square. Now I will move the playhead to the time when I want a square to begin moving. Now I need to go to the animation tab. For that, I can double click on the track to access it. Here we have two sub-tabs, Preset and Customize. In the Preset tab, we have two areas, Preset Animation, and if I scroll down, there is another area called Preset Motions Legacy. We don't need legacy animation because now we have better options to create any animation using the Customize tab here. To add a keyframe, I'll click Add and a circle will appear at the bottom of our timeline clip. This circle is a keyframe that represents or stores all the values for the attributes available in the Customize tab. So if you look at the Customize tab here, the keyframe has a value of 0 for the rotate attribute, a value of 100% for scale, and a value of 0 for the other attributes, position X, position Y, and opacity. These are linked to a point in the time on the timeline, and that point is where our playhead is. Now I will advance the playhead and place my square in the center of the canvas. Because we changed a square's position property, a new circle appears in the timeline representing the second keyframe where the playhead is. The arrow between two keyframes indicates that there is some animation between them. This keyframe represents position X as 0 and this keyframe represents the changed value. And the software automatically interpolates the values for the other frames between these two keyframes. If I feel that the movement is too slow, I can speed it up by closing the gap between two keyframes. The square will now take less time to travel from point A to point B. Now let's say I'm not happy with the final position of the square and want to change it. It's pretty straightforward. I'll just select the keyframe and reposition my square. You can also use these two buttons to jump between keyframes. We can create as many keyframes as we want. I'll move forward in the time and then bring back the square at the center of the canvas. Now I have one more keyframe and another arrow representing the second animation. Now let's say I want my square to stay stationary for some time at the center and then start rotating. So I'll move the playhead a few seconds and click on Add to create a new keyframe. Notice there is no keyframe between the two keyframes here as both share the same values. Now I will move forward again and change the rotate value to create an animation. Now if I want to slow down the rotation, I will move the keyframes apart. Now let's pause for a couple of seconds and then rotate the square anti-clockwise. Likewise, we can use other two properties, scale and opacity, to scale the size of the square and control its opacity. Now I will change both the scale and the opacity to 0 in order to hide the square completely from the canvas. To delete a keyframe, I can use this delete button, or I can right-click on the timeline and choose Delete Keyframe from the menu. You can click this button to remove all keyframes from the selected track. In the Preset tab, we have some presets that you can drag to the timeline and then adjust animation as desired. So that's a look at how to create keyframe animation in Filmora. You can create some interesting looking animations using keyframes.